Okay, so today we're going to try something pretty ambitious, maybe impossible.
Just a little bit.
We're taking a look at what, 70,000 years of human history?
Yeah, from the very first stone tools right up to the age of AI, the whole sweep.
And we're going to try and distill it all down to a single, really important truth.
Mm-hmm. And what we're drawing from here is this really wide-ranging analysis. It pulls together biology, anthropology, philosophy.
So it's not just a history book.
No, not at all. It's more like a profound argument about the illusions that, that actually built the modern world we live in. Some of it is pretty unsettling.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the central claim then, the big one, because I think this is the key takeaway you need to grasp right from the start.
Go for it.
Humans rule the world. But not because we're the strongest or the fastest or even individually the smartest. It's because we're really, really good at believing in shared myths.
That's it. That's the core idea. I mean, think about it. One-on-one, a single human is pretty unimpressive.
Right, I'm not winning a fight with a chimpanzee.
No. Or a lion, or even a determined pig, probably. Yet, here we are, dominating the entire planet. And the reason isn't muscle. It's our unique ability to cooperate flexibly with millions of complete strangers.
And it's the stories that unlock that cooperation.
Yes. The actual foundations of civilization. They're not physical things, they're ideas, they're religion, nations, laws, and maybe the most powerful of all, money.
If you can get millions of people to believe the same invented story, you have a kind of superpower.
A cooperation superpower that no other species has ever come close to. And the sources trace this ability back to one specific moment in our history.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me, this moment. It's called the cognitive revolution. Roughly 70,000 years ago.
Exactly. And it's so important to understand that this wasn't a physical change, it was a mental one. We suddenly evolved the ability to talk about things that don't physically exist.
Things we call fictions.
The fictions. A chimpanzee can warn its troop, hey, there's a lion by the river. That's objective reality. It's right there.
Okay.
But only a human can say, the lion is the spiritual ancestor of our tribe. Or, the land across that river is ours because a great God gave it to us.
And that one difference.
Yeah.
Talking about what is versus talking about what we imagine.
That is the difference between a small family band of maybe 150 individuals and a global civilization of 8 billion. It is the ultimate social technology.
So things like a corporation or a country.
Perfect examples. You can't see the border of Germany. You can't physically touch Google. These things are, in a way, just consensus hallucinations.
Hallucinations, wow.
They exist only in our shared imagination, but they dictate everything. Our wealth, our laws, our wars.
And I think we have to talk about the most successful shared fiction of all time.
Money.
Money.
It's the purest example. A dollar bill is just a piece of paper. A number in a bank account is just, electrons on a server. It has zero intrinsic value.
Its only value is that we all agree it has value.
Yes. A stranger in Tokyo trusts that piece of paper just as much as a stranger in Toronto. That universal belief in an imaginary thing is what makes global trade and really civilization possible.
Okay, so these shared myths let us cooperate.
Yeah.
And that cooperation first led us to, well, this is the next really controversial part of the analysis, the trap of agriculture.
Yeah, the standard story we all learn is that the agricultural revolution was this huge leap forward for humanity. Progress, stability, art.
But the sources here flip that script completely.
They call it history's biggest fraud.
A fraud. I mean, that's a huge claim. Agriculture let us build cities and feed massive populations. Isn't fraud a little strong?
Well, this is where the nuance is so critical. It was a fraud from the perspective of the individual human.
The average person.
The average person's life got demonstrably worse. They traded this really varied, protein-rich diet as a forager.
Working, what, a few hours a day?
Maybe 4 or 5 hours, yeah. They traded that for a monotonous diet of wheat or rice or corn.
And a lot more backbreaking work.
A lot more. They basically became slaves to these plants. And not only that, but living in permanent settlements, close to livestock, disease just skyrocketed.
So if you actually look at the skeleton.
If you look at the skeletal remains, the early farmers are generally shorter, less healthy, and they died younger than their foraging ancestors.
So that was the trap. Once you started, you couldn't go back. Your population exploded because you could grow more calories per acre.
Precisely. You suddenly had too many mouths to feed to ever go back to foraging. So the individual suffered, but the species, Homo sapiens, exploded in number.
It was an evolutionary success, but a personal disaster.
Exactly. And it really forces you to question this modern idea we have that progress always means a better life for the individual.
That distinction? Species success versus individual misery. That is a chilling thought. Okay, so we went from these small bands to a globally connected species. How did that happen? The sources point to three big unifiers.
Right. To cooperate over vast distances, we needed these huge overlapping systems. The first one, as we said, was money, the ultimate abstract trust system.
Okay, what's number two?
The second was empires.
Empires. Now, most people think of empires as violent, tools of conquest. How were they a unifying force?
It's a real paradox. They were, of course, often brutal, but they were also essential for unification. They would come in and smash all the small, local loyalties, all the little tribes.
And replace them with one system.
And replace them with one shared law, one language, one set of roads, one currency. They forced diverse peoples into a single administrative unit, which, even though it was under duress, paved the way for a global sense of unity.
And the third great unifier.
Religion. So if empires built the structure and money built the economy, religion provided the common moral framework. It gave total strangers a reason to trust each other.
Because you both answer to the same God, the same higher authority.
Exactly. A shared code of ethics that works across borders.
But it's really important to say, and the sources make this very clear, that these three systems, money, empires, religion, they also created massive inequality.
Oh, absolutely. They were tools of unity, but they were also, and still are, incredible tools of social and economic control. The story of human rights is a shared fiction. The story of a divine king is a shared fiction. They can be used for good or for justifying terrible things.
Okay, let's pivot now, sharply forward, to the era that really defines our modern world, the scientific revolution. When we think of science, we think of answers, facts, knowledge.
That's the result of science. But the argument here is that the revolution itself didn't start with knowledge. It started with the exact opposite. It started with a collective embrace of ignorance.
The willingness to just say, we don't know.
Yes, which sounds so counterintuitive, but it is the engine of all modern progress. Before that, most belief systems, religions, philosophies claimed they already had all the important answers.
The truth was already revealed.
The truth was revealed, the book was written, there was no need to explore. The scientific revolution was this revolutionary idea that actually there are huge gaps in our knowledge, and those gaps are our biggest opportunity. Curiosity replaced certainty.
So how did the acceptance of ignorance, lead to tangible things?
Well, it's directly linked to the rise of capitalism. Think about it. If you admit you don't know something, you fund research to find it out. You invest in an expedition. You create a new technology.
You're investing in a future you believe will be better than the present.
And that's the foundational shared fiction of capitalism, isn't it? The belief in future growth. That belief could never take hold in a world that thought it already knew everything.
So admitting we don't know unlocks credit, which funds exploration and technology, which leads to, well, everything we have now.
The entire system is built on that humility. It gave us a dynamic way to update our stories about the world, which is what allowed for the incredible technological leap of the last few centuries.
Which brings us right back around to the biggest philosophical question in all of this. We've got this incredible progress, this comfort, this technology.
And yet, the question remains, are humans today actually any happier than our foraging ancestors were?
It's a question that sort of stops you in your tracks. How do we even measure that?
Yeah.
If progress meant trading a low-stress life for anxiety and malnutrition for the farmer and now maybe for the modern office worker, what does success even mean?
Right. It forces you to wonder if historical progress has been a bit of a zero-sum game for, the human soul.
In this whole framework, this whole way of thinking, it becomes almost terrifying when we look to the near future, which is where the sources end up.
Yeah, the argument is that we're moving into a totally new phase. We're on the verge of becoming, as the author puts it, gods.
Meaning we are getting the power to redesign life itself.
Exactly. We're talking about genetic engineering, which can alter our biology. We're talking about artificial intelligence that could replace the human mind. Human enhancement that could literally split humanity into different species.
The ultimate risk, then, the real core warning for you, the listener, is that humanity might be gaining the powers of a god, but without the wisdom of a god.
That's the fear. We've mastered cooperation through fiction. We've mastered manipulating the physical world through science. But have we matured at all? We're about to rewrite the rules of evolution without really understanding what we want to become.
Or if what we want will actually bring us fulfillment or happiness.
It's the perfect, very unsettling bookend to this whole story. We started as an animal that tells fictions, and we may end as an animal that becomes its own fiction through technology.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the scale of this is it's monumental.
It really is.
We've seen how shared fictions built our entire world, how the invention of agriculture was a kind of necessary trap, and how admitting we were ignorant is what actually sparked modern progress.
And I think the real value here is that it gives you a lens to question everything. The border you cross, the money you use, the laws you follow. It helps you see the invisible stories that shape your entire life.
And that leads us to a final provocative thought to leave you with. We've seen that money, laws, nations, they're all shared myths we created for mass cooperation. So with the rise of these godlike technologies, things like autonomous, powerful AI, what's the next shared myth humanity will need to create to control these new forces? Will our fictions save us? Or will they just accelerate our path to becoming gods without wisdom?
Something to think about.
Until the next deep dive, keep questioning the stories you tell yourself.